Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. I am so excited to be coming to you with part 2 out of 6 in the Kitchen Table Stamper Paper Sampler Summer Sketch Series. Now, if you don't know about this yet, we're doing a summer sketch series running Fridays now through July 14th. There are 6 parts in the series, and I'll link them all together so that you can follow along. But we're doing this as part of our annual catalog paper sampler. The nice part about this sampler is it's an open-ended sampler. So every time I get a new group of 4 or more people, I can order a new round of the paper sampler. I can prepare binders ahead of time and get this out to you. So if you are joining us in the second installment and you still want to get involved with our sampler and summer sketch series with the products, you can email me, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. There's 2 levels of participation. One includes the sampler of designer series paper, just like you see here. I'll take the ad for the starter kit, although we have an awesome starter kit special going on in June. $99 to get started with Stampin Up, and instead of $125 in product of your choice, it's $155 of product of your choice. So level 1, the sampler, just like you see it here, the shortcut card sketch binder, including shortcut card sketches 1 through 6, laminated cards. I'll show you that in a minute. That's level 1. Level 2 is the sampler, the binder, and the 3D Basics embossing folders, which we're going to use through the entire series. So in this embossing folders pack, you get bubbles and then crosshatch. I love this crosshatch. It's so subtle and nondescript, so you can use it with anything. And the one we're going to use today is this star weave. All right, so you've seen the sampler. You know that you could still get involved with the products if you like. So let's go ahead and get from our paper sampler. There's 2 designer series papers that we're going to use on this one. Of course, you can use whatever you have. You can choose different papers from your sampler, or you can go ahead and use what you have on hand and follow along. All right, so when you get a sampler from Kitchen Table Stamper, this is exactly how you're going to get it. You'll get the papers, and we pack them upside down on purpose, so you'll remove them. They're on a piece of chipboard, so you can remove the whole stack, keep them from scrambling, and then flip them. Once you flip them, you'll see that they are labeled with what paper pack they are, by name, by number, price, and all the coordinating colors. And then they're divided with that card for each and every pack of paper. Now there's 13 packs in this sampler. There's Fresh as a Daisy with all of its coordinating colors and information for reorder. Glorious Gingham. All right, you get the idea. We're going to use the Masterfully Made one today. So I'm going to find that one and pull out 2 patterns that I love. You could do this one with 4 patterns that coordinate, or 2 patterns that coordinate. Where is my Masterfully Made? There we go. All right, so you can choose 2 or 4 patterns that coordinate. And let's go to our binder, and we're going to get shortcut card sketch number 6. That's right, number 6. I'm going to choose these 2 patterns. And oh, you're about to see our card for today. And number 6 is brand new. It's not available on the blog yet. It's not public until today. If you get the binder, you get shortcut card sketches 1 through 3, which are public, all on laminated cards. But you also get 4, 5, and 6. And those are not public yet, but we are going to reveal them throughout the series. So we're skipping ahead. 1, 2, 3, and 6 are now public. This is my binder, and this is how I like to use it. I've got my shortcut card sketch. It's a laminated card that I can pull out whenever I feel the need to get crafty. Behind that, I throw some page protectors. We don't put these in the binder for you, but this is an option of how you can use it, because this is how I use it. And you can print from Kitchen Table Stamper the project sheets for some cards using that sketch, so you have some samples to get you started. So all the inspiration you need to cut the paper and get crafty all in one binder. All right, so we've got our shortcut card sketch number 6. We've chosen our designer series paper. for this project. And this is the card. Now, I love this card because it's with some simple adjustments. You can use up even more of the Designer Series paper. So here we've got Lost Lagoon and Bubble Bath, and we've chosen the Lost Lagoon torn, and Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon torn edge paper, right? And used some of the greener ends of this floral. To use up some of the more blue ends of this floral, we've made Bubble Bath our card base, Night of Navy our embossed layer, and we grab the Berry Burst torn edge Designer Series papers, mixed it up with some of these more blue ends. Now here, kind of in the middle, we've got the Berry Burst again on Bubble Bath. We've swapped the Lost Lagoon and Bubble Bath layers. And now we're going to make this card. All right, so I'll have pictures of the other samples ready to go. Let's look at our sketch and let's get crafting. So layer A is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So a standard card base. I've got Bubble Bath for that layer. And then layer B, 4 cardstock or Designer Series paper pieces, all 1.5 inch square. So here's where I said, remember, you could pick 2 Designer Series papers or 4. So you could have 4 different pieces, or you can do like I did and you can alternate. Torn flower, torn flower. All right. Now we are going to also get really crafty because that's what we do around here, around Kitchen Table Stamper. I like to say crafty girls do what they want. It's kind of my motto in life. And since we're using the inked and tiled bundle today, we're going to use this new square punch. Now, if you don't have this one, use 1.5 inch squares. I've heard from a lot of my customers and friends that they really like the idea of these inked and tiled punch bundle, but they don't know how to use them. So stay tuned. I will be using them more and more. So in this case, we're just going to use them exactly like we would a 1, and let's see if I can get as much out of this paper as possible. We're going to use just like we would a 1.5 inch square. So we're going to punch those little guys, and we're going to punch 2 from the Berry Burst, and those will satisfy layer B in our shortcut card sketch number 6. All right, so there's our 1.5 inch squares. Little crafty 1.5 inch squares. All right, next up is C. That's this white layer here, any shape of your choice. So I went ahead and cut C with the deckled rectangles. I don't have a chart for this one yet, but it is the 4th from the smallest rectangle that we're going to use here. And this one is approximately 2 3/16 by 3 9/16. So if you're just going to cut a rectangle, you don't have these dectangles yet, that's okay. You can estimate about that size and just cut a rectangle on your paper trimmer. And then the next layer is D, any shape of your choice. So we have this D shape with the postage edge. We're going to use the dectangles again, and we're going to use the 5th from smallest. All right, and that one is Lost Lagoon, and 5th from smallest is about 2 9/16 by 3 15/16 if you're cutting your own. All right, then E, 1.5 by 2 3/4. Back to my motto, crafty girls do what they want. We're gonna just leave off E, and we're gonna stamp our sentiment right on the C layer. So these sketches say right on them, they're that I hope that they give you confidence to jump in and craft. They're meant to help you, not to dictate. They're not to be rigid. Feel free to rotate them, mirror the design. Pick and choose which elements that you keep, and you don't want 1.5 inch squares because you just got a new punch. Well, then go for the punches. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp our flowers. I'm going to show you a fun inking technique with this inked and tiled stamp set. I thought about at Kitchen Table Stamper, I often say, if you don't love the product, don't get bundled. Don't get bundled. Stampin' Up! Would love for you to get bundled, but you don't have to get bundled. So I looked at it and I was like, I don't know. But then I went to Norway, and the swaps at Norway had a couple of really nice samples using inked and tiled. So I did end up getting the punches and the stamps. And I thought about just getting the punches. So let me show you something that we're going to do with this. You're going to need Berry Burst and Bubble Bath. If you don't have those colors or they don't match with the paper you're using, then you'll want to find a light and dark color buddies. Color buddies are colors that are almost the same color, lighter and darker shades of almost the same color. All right, so you need color buddies for your flower, and then a greenish neutral for your leaf. For me, Pretty Peacock works great. So we're gonna do Pretty Peacock, okay? I'm gonna ink up my flower first. This is kind of the wide open bloom here from Inked and Tiled. And we're going to ink it in Bubble Bath. Ink it well, because now you're gonna take and lay it face up on your surface, grab a sponge dauber, daub Berry Burst, and carefully and thoroughly ink the center of the flower. You're gonna wanna add a couple of layers of Berry Burst here. And you're gonna try to kind of keep it in the center. It'll radiate into the Bubble Bath petals a little bit. If you want to, you can huff on your stamp. A little bit of warm breath will reactivate that Bubble Bath ink. Let the ink transfer, give it some time. You just did this beautiful inking technique. You want all that ink to transfer. So there's our flower. Now to further accentuate the center of that flower, we're going to stamp over with a little bit of detail. So we've got this little burst image from the stamp set. We're going to stamp right over the Berry Burst center with that little burst image, and it just further builds the depth. Now for your remaining flower, we have one that's the full front and then the side view. So for this side view, we're going to use this too, but we're only going to ink what we need. So we're going to do the Bubble Bath ink on the petals, and you really want to saturate this, ink it well. Then you're going to flip the stamp up on your surface, grab a new sponge dauber or different color. We're going to do Pretty Peacock, and now we're going to ink the stem of this one flower and get it good and inked. We really want a nice bright green stem, and then we're going to ink just the very end of the stem and get that flower. All right, now go ahead and stamp that on your scrap paper. This is a scrap of basic white, by the way. And there is our side view flower. Now for the deckled rectangle, we've got a big leaf, and we're going to ink that with Pretty Peacock and get really good coverage. We want the stem down the right side of our deckled rectangle, so we have room for the greeting on the left side. Let the ink transfer. And then a nice contrast, we're going to do Thank You with Berry Burst. All right, let's slide these aside and give them a second to dry and bring our card base in here. So we've got our beautiful Bubble Bath card base. How do you think about that color? It's nice to have a new fun palette to work with, right? With the Lost Lagoon back and the Bubble Bath. They're nice friends, and they work really well with the Masterfully Made Designer Series paper. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run a little bit of glue on the left edge. So we're going to go about 1/2 inch from the left, about 1/2 inch from the top, and about 1/2 inch from the bottom. And just go ahead and run. You can use a dry adhesive here too if you wanted to, like your Seal or Seal Plus. I love the liquid because we get a little bit of time. So you see I've got 2 lines. They're about 1/2 inch, they're about 1/2 inch wide, and they're about 1/2 inch from top and bottom. Now we're gonna go ahead and arrange our little squares so that they overlap as we go down, and kind of toggle them. I don't want them to be exactly pointing out. Give them a little bit of a toggle. You can even, with that torn edge there, you can alternate that. And we got a little bit of time to adjust to get them even. And there it is. Just like our shortcut card sketch number 6, right? All right, now for a little bit of interest, we're gonna take this, I don't know, it's like a swipe. It's like a dry brush swipe. And we're going to ink it with Bubble Bath and stamp Bubble Bath on Bubble Bath. Again, right up against those squares and maybe about 3/8 of an inch from the top. We're gonna ink up again. We're not gonna rotate. We're just gonna slide down about a 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. It's gonna overlap in the middle and look a little sloppy, but it doesn't matter because the next thing we're gonna do is adhere layers D and C to the card. So our next step is going to be layers C and D, but you might have noticed from our samples that gorgeous texture on that D layer. So let's get our embossing folders and give some texture to our Ductangle. Got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine here with the layer 1 platform. Gonna pop our little Ductangle into this awesome star pattern. I like to use this line here across the bottom of the folder, line up the bottom of my piece or my card so that I can see that I'm gonna get a nice straight pattern. This does have a kind of a linear pattern, so it's really important to get it level. I'm gonna pop number 4 over the top and give it a crank. And there is our embossed layer. Isn't that gorgeous? These folders are amazing. You get all 3 of them for $30 in a pack. Or if you order the level 2 sampler and summer sketch series, you can have them included. All right, this is D. So let's go ahead and adhere it with some liquid glue. And we'll do that little angle. And then level C, our stamp with the branch. A little opposite angle there. Now it's time to dress this up. We're gonna cut our flowers. Just fussy cut them with a little white border. All right, there's our flower pieces. I'm going to use dimensionals to apply those. I love the mini dimensionals because these wide edges, they make perfect little strips for your stems. So you can go ahead and support that stem with a little bit of the edge from the minis. Then pull the rest of that edge for the flower. Sweet, huh? And then for the back of this one, we'll do a couple of minis. Get them on the card. All right. Place the flower and then the side view. Ooh, it's really coming together. Let's bring our sample in here. We're gonna do a little embellishing. I've got some linen thread and brushed brass butterflies. If you told me I could only have 2 embellishments out of everything, I had to pick 2, only 2, they were the only ones that I could use, I would pick the brushed brass butterflies and the linen thread. I think they are so versatile. They're the brushed brass butterflies are super unique. They are real metal. They're really brushed. They're really brass. They're just gorgeous. And they add such a nice texture and tone to any natural themed, nature themed card. Whether you've got animals or you've got flowers or you've got leaves, it doesn't matter. You've got other types of insects. The brushed brass just adds a nice, and it goes with any paper you have. They're really awesome. And then the twine, it's just a earthy kind of neutral, but even with something as pretty and pink, kind of elegant and flowery as this, the twine works great. So these are my two favorites. They're, I think, the most versatile and most, I don't know, neutral embellishments we have. I'm gonna do my linen thread bow with a glue dot. I love this method. You could use a dot of glue here, and oftentimes I do, but oftentimes I'm impatient and I don't want to wait for a glue to dry. So I'm gonna grab a glue dot, and I'm gonna take your pick tool. I'm gonna use the piercing end of that take your pick tool, and I'm just gonna roll this glue dot until it's kind of a long lump. When it's a long skinny roll of glue, then I'll put it on the back of the knot. Now my bow is right on the take your pick tool. I can bring the take your pick tool and position my bow exactly where I want it on the tip of the tool. Then I'll hold the knot and remove the take your pick tool, and there's my bow. Secure, no dry time, exactly where I wanted it. You can still do a little finesse if you want. And there it is. Shortcut card sketch number 6 with the inked and tiled bundle and the Masterfully Made Designer Series paper. All right, if you've got any questions about our sampler and sketch series or the binder, how to get the paper, how to get the binder, you can email me, Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up 24/7, you can buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in video number 3 of the series.